So one of the main things that Download has been criticised for over the years is repeating headliners, having repetitive bands, using the same circle of bands year after year. I mean, it's not like they use the exact same bands every single year, but once in a while you will notice on the lineups that there are certain headliners that seem to be back a lot more than others. So in spirit of that sort of theme, I thought I would give you some of my top picks for bands that I think could headline Download Festival in the future. Number 1 is Korn. I actually don't understand how this band haven't headlined this festival yet. It actually blows my mind that they haven't. I thought this band were always big enough. Pretty much, since the start of the career, since the 90s, I thought this band would have been big enough to headline Download. Am I really missing something here? Are they not the kind of bands headline? Because when I saw them in 2022, I think if they'd just gone a little bit more with the set and stuff, they could easily be a headliner. Maybe they're just not filling out arenas and selling out tours. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I thought they were pretty popular. I thought, these are one of the biggest nu metal bands in existence, up there with Slipknot, up there with Linkin Park. I'm just surprised that this band haven't had that chance yet. It just seems really long overdue. Number 2, I've got Paramore, and I know what you're all going to say. They are not the rock band that they used to be. They're not even the emo band that they used to be. They're certainly, pop, alt rock, whatever. There's guitars in there still, but it doesn't go much further than that. They are obviously a lot different to what they were. Without a doubt, they're certainly big enough to headline, but I think a big headline slot of them playing mostly their older stuff, first few albums, obviously new ones in there as well. I think it's completely possible with Bring Me headlining, with Fall Out Boy headlining, MCR have headlined in the past. I don't really see a reason why they couldn't do it. I think it'd be really cool. All right, number 3. It's worth mentioning that I've had this list written for quite a few months now. Actually, before the 2024 lineup came out, I had this list done. Number 3 is Limp Bizkit. And then obviously Limp Bizkit got announced as sub-headliner to Avenged Sevenfold this year. So I stand corrected. I guess they're not quite ready to headline yet, even though they definitely are or were. By no means am I a diehard Limp Bizkit fan. I couldn't tell you that many songs by them, really. I just think this is a band that could easily headline Download in the future. Just one time at least. I think this is another really possible one. I mean, I guess we'll see what kind of show they put on when we see them later this year, opening for Avenged Sevenfold, which is still extremely cool. I cannot wait for that. Another really nice, obvious one that I see a lot of people commenting and requesting for is Green Day. Probably the biggest, most influential pop-punk band of the 90s, the early 2000s. Why has this not happened yet? I'm pretty sure this band have headlined Download in other countries as well, just not the UK, and it's really weird to me. I don't understand why. I do think it's one that we'll eventually get. Number 5 is Evanescence. Now, I didn't actually see them in 2023 because I was seeing Pendulum and Architects and Bring Me, obviously. There was no way I was missing those bands to go see Evanescence. And that is a shame, really. I do like Evanescence. I've never seen them live before. I really do love their biggest hits. Amy Lee did actually come out for Bring Me set, which was absolutely fucking awesome. But I think Evanescence are another one of those female-fronted, biggest rock bands in the world that just haven't headlined yet, but definitely should and are definitely overdue. Obviously, they headline the second stage, but I think there's a chance that they could do the main stage as well at some point in the future. I'm not saying it has to be now, but if they're going to continue for another, 20 years, then I think it needs to happen at some point. Okay, number 6. This might be a little bit of a controversial one. You might disagree with this one, but I think Mötley Crüe still needs headline Download. They seem to be one of those only hair metal bands from the 80s that haven't headlined yet. Like, we've had Aerosmith, we've had Def Leppard, we've had Guns N' Roses. Why have we not had Mötley Crüe yet? I can't remember where they were on the lineup. They were last there in 2015. I can't remember exactly where they were on the lineup. I'm pretty sure they were sub-headlining or they were headlining the second stage, but I just think this is another enormous band that most people know, been around for literally decades, and they just haven't headlined yet. I want to see Vince, Tommy, Nicky, I want to see them all in the flesh before they're gone. And I do hope they are there in Download 2025 in some form, which would also be 10 years since they were last there as well, so it makes sense. All right, a couple more. Blink-182. Again, very similar reasons to why I think Green Day should headline. Legendary pop-punk band, been legendary for literally just over 2 decades now. Been extremely relevant these last couple of years as well since they came back, released a new album. There are so many reasons that Blink should headline Download. They're also headlining Reading and Leeds this year as well. And from what I've seen, Download have a tendency to book a band as a headline after they've headlined Reading and Leeds. Biffy Clyro headlined Reading and Leeds in 2016. Download got them to headline 2017. Bring Me headlined Reading and Leeds in 2022. And then Download got them to headline in 2023. Maybe Blink-182 for 2025 headliner. See where I'm going with this? I think it's very possible. Maybe Travis would even bring MGK along for all of his many, many fans that I'm sure there is at Download. And finally, this is probably the most requested band I've ever seen to headline Download, that have never headlined Download, and I've seen more comments, more, top comments, more liked comments, more things about this band than any other band. I think you all know who I'm going with. It's Foo Fighters. Why have Foo Fighters never headlined? I know that some people know the answers to this, or they think they know the answers to this. I've heard that Foo Fighters have refused to headline Download. I've heard rumors that Andy Copping and Dave Grohl fell out for some reason. I've heard some ridiculous things. I don't think any of this is actually true. Maybe Foo Fighters don't want a headline download. Maybe it's about money. Maybe it's about what Foo Fighters want to do. Maybe the download bookers just don't like Foo Fighters and don't want them there. I highly doubt that one as well, though. Whatever the actual reason is that Foo Fighters haven't headlined download in the last 20 years, it'd still be an iconic one if they did come and headline the festival in 2025, 2026, 2027 even, and onwards, whenever. It needs to happen at some point. Again, another band that I've actually not seen live before, but I know this band are a sellout band. I know this band fill arenas. There's no denying it would sell a hell of a lot of tickets. Probably all of the day tickets on that day would sell out. They're a massive band, and it'd just be a great, exciting change to some of the other bands we keep getting. We need to make this one happen. Keep commenting, keep demanding, keep requesting. We need to get Foo Fighters to download. It's going to happen. Hopefully you agree with at least some of those. I know that some of them may seem a bit unrealistic, but I think for the most part, it's completely possible. And feel free to let me know who you think could headline download in the future. And please don't say Skindred. If you're brand new here, I make a lot of download festival content, download vlogs, download lineup reactions. It really is mostly download festival stuff here. If you're into any of that, if you enjoy that, please subscribe. Give this one a like as well. It really helps me out. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you again real soon for some more download content.